And it's hard learning to say no as a woman, as a people pleaser, as a caregiver,
Mhm.
as an empath, like, you wanna help, you wanna save the world. And sometimes you're like, I have to learn to say no, or like, I can't do this event or that, and prioritizing.
Step right up, folks. You're now entering It's a Circus, where parenting isn't always a show stopping act, but it's certainly entertaining. I'm your host, Elsa, here to prove that no one really knows what they're doing, and that's perfectly fine. Let's have some real conversations, peel back the layers, and remind you that you're never alone in the madness. Let's get the show rolling. I am so excited to get into this episode, as I am with all episodes, but fair warning, as I was editing this, all I kept saying in the interview was, oh my God, or oh my gosh. So you will hear that throughout the whole thing, which is, I think, is part of the reason why this conversation is so exciting because we really got to listen to Farah and all of her learning and experience and her career and starting a family has all blended together. It's really a beautiful arc in that whole process. So it should feel inspiring to listen to. But let's get into her bio. The daughter of an artist and a nurse, Farah blends creativity and care in everything she does. She earned her master's in physician assistant studies from Northern Arizona University in 2016, launching her career in dermatology. There, she discovered her love of skin health, injectables, and the power of subtle, non surgical transformations. Over the years, Farah became fellowship trained in dermatology, mastering both medical and aesthetic skills. After helping dermatology practices expand their aesthetic offerings, she pursued her true passion, aesthetics full time. She is a wife and a full time mother of two, balancing family life with her calling as an injector and entrepreneur. She understands firsthand the demands of wearing many hats, and she brings that same empathy, strength, and balance into the way she cares for her clients. With years of training, she learned that injectables are more than medicine, they're art. Faces are her canvas, and her approach is guided by kindness, integrity, honesty, and safety. Farah believes aesthetics should be approachable, natural, and empowering. She values convenience without compromising quality and treats every client the way she'd want to be treated herself. We cannot wait to get into this episode. Let's go. Hi, Farah. Thank you, and welcome to
Hello.
It's a Circus podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too, because I have been dying for this conversation. One, because I can't wait
Aw.
to hear your story and have you share your story. But two, selfishly, I'm like, ooh, I get to like just interview you and talk to you about all the things. I feel so
Oh
lucky.
my gosh. I'm so excited. I'm excited to talk to you. I feel the same way.
I love it. Well, let's kick it off with your mamahood stats. So, who are you a mom of? How old are they? And have you always wanted to be a mother?
Such a good question. I am a mom of two. I have a daughter who is 7. I can't even believe that I'm saying that. Like, time
Yeah.
flies so fast.
Yeah.
And I have a son who's 5. He just turned 5. They're 19 months apart.
Okay.
Um, and I have gone through phases of wanting, like, when I was younger, I definitely wanted to be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went through a stage when I just started my career that I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to have kids. Um, and then went back into a stage of, oh, you know what? Let's try this. Let's have kiddos. So, um, after having one, we were like, well, we just can't have one. Like, we have to have another, not be alone. So, yeah, we had two, and then we decided that's good for us. We got our boy and our girl.
Ah, totally. And they're so cute and perfect. So I love it. Um,
Thank you.
19 months apart. That's wild. So two under two. Um, Mine
Yep.
are 14 months apart. So kind of close. Like, but that zeitgeist moment where you are really, really in it is intense, especially with the two under two. But
Yes.
before we get into that, I want to talk like from the beginning. So for you, was this a surprise for your first, or was it something that you guys had planned?
So interesting. It was definitely a surprise.
Okay.
We so we we had our wedding, and then before we actually like we had our ceremony and our party, and before we actually went to like the courthouse to sign our marriage license, we had our honeymoon in between.
Okay.
And we honeymooned in Bali, and it was definitely a thing there for everybody to like bless the newlyweds with like we hope you get pregnant on your honeymoon. And I remember like people touching my stomach and like doing
What?
all these things when I was there, like we really hope you get pregnant. And my husband and I looking at each other like, you know what, we're not trying actually, like this is but we actually did end up getting pregnant on our honeymoon. So literally by the
Oh
time
my
we got
God.
back and like it was like a month in between our wedding ceremony and signing our license, we were already pregnant and like went to the courthouse knowing we were pregnant and signing, and then I'm like, okay, well, you can't change your mind now. Like we're in this.
Oh
It
my
was
gosh. That is incredible.
yeah.
So, did you get married in the States or did you get married somewhere else?
We got married in the States. We were living in Arizona at the time because
Okay.
that's where I finished grad school.
Hmm.
And then we had our wedding ceremony in Ohio, and then we honeymooned in Bali and then came back to Arizona.
Oh my God.
So it was a whirlwind.
What a place to honeymoon though. Why Bali? And I love that. I have never been and dying to go.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I'm like such a nature lover, and like I had a really big thing for elephants actually at the time, and was like they have like an elephant sanctuary and
Hmm.
like monkeys and
Hmm.
out in nature. And it just was beautiful. The culture and the people there were
Yeah.
amazing. So it was like on my bucket list.
Oh my gosh, I love
So fun.
it. How long were you guys over there for?
I think we did like 8 or 9 days. And it was like a whole thing to get there. I mean, that's a whole story for
Right.
another time. But like by the time we got there, we were like so excited.
Oh my gosh. And then you were just blessed, blessed so much that you get
Yes.
your first baby. That's wild. So,
Yes.
married and baby right away.
Instant.
Okay, talk to me
Yeah.
about that because that feels
I
really intense.
It definitely was, and I don't even think we realized it at the time, but
Hmm.
we really didn't get a lot of time to like enjoy married life together. And like, oh, let's just like see how being married is for a while before we have kids. It was like literally, as soon as we were married and found that out this happy news, but we were like, oh my gosh, now we've got to
Hmm.
like get everything ready for this baby. And that became the focus of everything.
Wow.
So it was definitely like reflecting back would have been nice to like have taken a baby moon or like done
Sure.
any of the things and taken more time as a married couple before like planning to have kids.
But there were other plans in place, and you went to Bali and got blessed. So,
Yes. And it makes for a great story and so fun to tell the kids.
oh my God, how hilarious. That is so cute.
Yeah.
Um, how was pregnancy for you? And where were you in your career? Because, I don't know the details of your career. So, kind of talk to us about that too, because I know two and two kind of
Mhm.
go together.
That's such a great question because I had just graduated PA school. So I had
Okay.
like done intense 6 years of like
Wow.
schooling, just graduated. I had some job offers after school and I went into dermatology right out of school. And I was super excited. It was like my first big girl job. I was training to do like aesthetics and surgery, and there was like a lot on my plate, and I wanted to like climb, obviously, and like be the best I could. So definitely it was interesting getting pregnant during that time of like
Hmm.
getting adjusted to a career and almost like my priorities shifting a little bit in that time. Um and deciding like we were living in Arizona at the time, like, if we do have a baby, we're gonna want to be near our family
Hmm.
because we didn't have family out there. So we had to make the decision to move to Ohio where our family was closer. So definitely like the career climb took a little step back. And I took another opportunity in dermatology, which ended up being great, but yeah, it was definitely a scary transition time
Oh my gosh,
going into
crazy. So, you
yeah.
moved too. Did you move before you had your baby?
Yes. Yeah, so we had 3 dogs.
Oh,
I
of course.
was like 12 weeks pregnant, driving across the country in a
Mm-mm,
truck,
mm-mm.
like yeah, trying to like move across country. which was our second cross country move because my husband and I met in Michigan and he like came with me to Arizona. So we were like, okay, we've done this before. Let's do it again. Now we just have a couple extra dogs and a baby. So fine. We can do this.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. So how long were you
Yeah.
in Ohio for? And is that where you had what's your daughter's name again? I'm like blanking.
I'm out.
Okay.
Yeah. That's yep. So we moved to Ohio. I took a job in dermatology out there and yeah, both of my kids ended up being born in Ohio. So we were there for probably about 3 years total.
Wow. And both of you guys had family there.
We did. So we had family in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Ohio.
Oh
So
yeah.
it was like a good middle ground where we could see everybody from there.
Oh my gosh. That is so wild. So how was pregnancy for you? Obviously busy,
Oh,
but how did you feel?
I definitely felt I don't want to say lied to, but I definitely felt like
Hmm.
everybody I knew was like, I'm glowing and I'm pregnant and like this is the most amazing experience. And I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm excited for that. For me, it wasn't necessarily anything bad happening, but I felt so tired and so bloated and fatigued. And I'm used to being super active and like working on my feet. And so adjusting to like having to slow down and be like, take breaks and catch my breath was like very difficult for me mentally, I think. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to work out and do all the things that I normally did. And it was like, doctor being like, you don't want to get your heart rate that high. Like, definitely be mindful with not working out too much or doing this or that. So it was an adjustment for me, definitely. And I think like the hormone changes too. Like, it took a minute for me to adjust that first trimester where I felt not so good. Like, and I think postpartum is talked about a lot, but like actually in the pregnancy itself, I had a little bit of like low emotional
Ooh,
dips.
yeah.
So that was kind of expected for me.
Yeah. It's so, I love that you brought that up because, and that's why I asked that question. And oftentimes, when you're so far removed and the birth comes and all of that comes, you're like, let's now talk about this big, heavy stuff. But there's the stuff that happens before that can be equally as, detrimental and especially from like a mental capacity.
Yeah, definitely.
I had a woman, very well intended. She told me this story. I was like heavily pregnant with my first. And by heavily, I mean, I was like past 30 weeks, like dying so uncomfortable, like feeling so
Yeah.
gross, dead. And she was like, don't you feel like you're just in a spotlight? Don't you feel that the world is just rooting you on and like doing everything for you because you're pregnant? And I was like, that is not my experience. Like, thank you for sharing. Love that for you. That was so not my experience. I
Oh
I still
no.
die to this day and actually tease her because I'm like, I can't believe that was your experience in my world. That was so far from anything. I can't even handle it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I feel like that's so relatable because you go into being like, yes, I'm going to be glowing and everyone's going to be like fawning over you. But it's like, in reality, it's like sometimes you just feel blah and you don't want anyone looking at you. You're like, leave me alone.
Totally. And especially within those first like the first try, it's such like a delicate time. I think
Mhm.
tell me about what kind of were those feelings since you had like some dips and stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of like obviously with the move and like leaving my friends behind and like just starting all over in a new place in a new job and like figuring all of that out with the hormonal changes and then like not even telling obviously my boss yet
Mhm.
because it was so early that I didn't know. So just almost like feeling like, oh, like I have this secret and I wanna tell and how are they gonna respond to that? Because I just got hired. So there was a lot of like fear around that. And then, after telling my boss, she wasn't thrilled.
Mhm.
But she wasn't, she was still like supportive enough, but it was still like, okay, well, I still expect you to like, see these patients and do these things. And like feeling nauseous and being like popping preggy pop drops in the
Right,
back,
yeah.
like so that I wouldn't, and just to keep up was a lot in the beginning, and I think I was feeling overwhelmed because I didn't have, I think I was the first in my friend group to get pregnant, so I didn't have anybody to turn to that had recently had kids to be like, what do you recommend, or is this normal?
Right.
So I was feeling very, I think, isolated at the time.
Oh my gosh, totally. Um, and how could you not? I mean, what a busy time in general. And you're trying to like kickstart your life. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, here's this other path that you're kickstarting too at the same time.
Yeah.
Shame on that woman for making you feel bad.
Yeah, I think she was older and already had her kids and they were grown, so I think maybe there was like a disconnect of like remembrance that maybe she had been in that state once. Um, which like is such a normal feminine experience to have kids. So, yeah, it was definitely like, okay, like I'm gonna put on my big girl pants and
Yeah.
like try to keep up. Yeah, it was a high pressure time for sure.
Oh man. Okay. So how, what did you do? If you didn't reach out to friends, how did you read all the books? Like, what was your kind of like plan?
Yeah, it was a lot of like I had the apps, like checking where I was at, like with the baby size, reading the books, like a lot of Google at the time, being like, what's normal? Talking to my mother-in-law because she had four kids
Hmm.
and, asking her experience about things. So that was helpful. And just like trusting my gut, I think, and being like, you know what? Um, this doesn't necessarily feel like a long-term environment for me, like where I want to necessarily stay.
Yeah.
Um, so when Amel was born, I decided, and the scariest thing in my life, I decided to leave that position like while I was on maternity leave and be like, you know what, I need to find something a little bit more aligned. So it was again just like rolling with the changes.
Yeah. Okay, I love that you did that. I also
Yeah.
did that with my second. And there are parts of me looking back at it being like, was that the best? And I think what I always kind of land on, and you tell me if this feels right for you, is when you're in
Mhm.
that moment. And you're right, the hormones are insane. You are insane because you're not yourself. You're like growing a baby, you're exhausted. Sometimes I
Mhm.
think when we are in that state, it's almost like we have a different type of clarity. And so something that may seem like irrational or like really insane, no one can talk you out of it, first off. And then
Mhm.
secondly, I would kind of sit in the camp of like, it's not just the hormones talking, it's some version of yourself that's really crystal clear on the future because you have this baby in you. So making those decisions, as wild as
Mhm.
they may seem to other people, are really ultimately the best for you.
Oh my gosh, I totally agree. It was
Hmm.
like at the time it was like there was no rational
Yeah.
reason,
Yeah.
but it was like your gut knew. Like I need that calm. I need my nervous system calm to bring this baby in, and like, everything else is figure outable. And it's like this time I won't get back, so I need to focus on
Wow.
what's best for me right now, this baby.
Wow. I feel like that is so impressive. Um, Really, because how late in your pregnancy were you working?
I worked until the very end until I delivered.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you did?
I did, and actually, Amel came early. She came 3 weeks early, which was unexpected. So I feel like I kind of cheated a little bit because I only had to do 37 weeks of pregnancy. But yeah, it was a Saturday, and it was my husband's birthday.
Stop.
So yeah, so she came 3 weeks early, and he thought I was like messing with him. I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and my water break broke in my sleep in the bed.
What?
And, I woke up and was like, "Oh my gosh, I think my water broke." And of course, he was like, "No way." And, I went to the bathroom and like more water came out and I was like, "No, this is really happening."
Hmm.
So I didn't have time to be like, take time off before delivery or whatever. It was like I worked until Friday and then Saturday my water broke. So it was very quick.
Oh my gosh. Okay, tell me all about it. Was it okay? And then the other thing is too, is because you're in the medical field. You tell me.
Mhm.
I feel one, so much respect for knowing how your body works because I am just not that person. But two, do you feel like you had kind of a leg up with how that experience was going to go for you?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
it's like a blessing and a curse. Like you definitely you know what's going on with your body, but also makes you like hyper aware.
Mm,
So I think any like a lot of us in the medical field would be like sometimes you just know too much and you're just like analyzing every little thing, every little symptom and like what does this mean and like
hmm.
what's going on. So I think like reminding yourself to take a step back and be like it's gonna be fine, like it's all
Hmm.
okay. But then yes, like, also being told, like, when my water broke and I went in, they everyone was like, "Are you sure? Like, are you sure you didn't just pee yourself?" And just, like, the feeling like, "Oh, no, I'm pretty sure, like, I know enough to know, like, what that feels like." Um, so and then being like, "Let's just double check." So they actually, like, checked the fluid under a microscope, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, it's got the ferning pattern. That means, like, yes, it's amniotic. You're gonna have this baby today." Um, so yeah, just, like, knowing to kinda advocate for yourself a little bit and be like, "But, I'm pretty sure," but, was helpful with that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I think that's just something that, I think in general, as women, or at least for me, oftentimes I'll be, and especially for me, I guess I would say, in that situation because I don't even want to think about what's happening to my body. So I'm just like, just tell me what's going on. Like, I don't want to be a part of it. Like, let's just, do this thing. I think,
Yeah.
um, I think that is wild. I think oftentimes we have to give our own selves credit that we know our body the best
Mhm,
more than anyone,
mhm,
and to remember that
mhm.
as we kind of like go through whatever we're going through, but specifically around birth.
So true, so true, and it's such a new experience that sometimes you question yourself, like,
Yeah,
"Do I know my
totally.
body? What's happening?" So yeah, just being yeah, to just taking a moment to be like, "No, I really feel like this is right in my gut," and going with that, and sure enough, she was coming.
Oh my gosh. Did you have a birth plan?
Yeah, I think a lot of us are, like you have this idea in your head of how it's gonna go and you make this plan and you're like, yeah, we're sticking to the plan. And then a lot of times it doesn't
Hmm.
go as planned. So you just have to roll with it. But yeah, I knew that I wasn't gonna try to be a hero. I was like all about getting the epidural.
Hmm.
Um, I know my mom was very like she had 4 babies natural, so she was very like, "Go natural, like, it's the most important thing. Don't get induced, don't get the Pitocin." So there was a lot of pressure around that, and unfortunately with Amel, my water broke but I didn't go into labor. So, the doctors were all like, "You have to have this baby within 24 hours
Right.
of the water broke or you can have a risk of infection." So there was a lot of like, "Oh my gosh, I don't think I have a choice. Like let's do this. Like I'm not gonna sit around and wait for something bad to happen."
Right.
Um, so I got induced with that, and then toward the end, I think I was like 4 or 5 centimeters dilated, and I got to a point where I was like, "Okay, I felt what this feels like.
Yeah.
I now I know I made it this far. Please somebody bring the epidural." And once I had that, it was such an uneventful in a good way birth. Like everything was really easy. I think I pushed for like maybe 2 hours, and then she was with us, and it was great. It was calm.
Oh, I love that. That is so beautiful. And yeah, I think it is funny. I had an agreement too. I had a doula. And so I was like, hey, so I think I'm going to try for as long as I can. And then, but I was positive. I knew I wanted the epidural at some point, but I was like, let's just try. And
Mhm.
I mean, holy smokes. Once you get into that vibe, you are like, I mean, it is true. You are lost. You are on a different planet. You are in a different universe. You are some other dimension that
Yeah.
pain is on the nth degree level.
Mhm. Yeah, and you're at that point, you're like, "I just want relief, and I wanna
Yeah.
enjoy this moment, like,
Yes.
with my child, and not be focused on, like, being in pain, but be focused on, like, the beauty of what's happening right now."
Right.
So it was such a special thing because then it could be, like, a calm, like, delivery, and I could
So
hold her
good.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we feel very lucky.
That is so good. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, so
Yeah.
she's here, she's living life.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
tell me about that. What was like postpartum like? What was you left your job so you weren't necessarily
Yeah.
up against the clock. What was all of that like?
Oh my gosh, it was a whirlwind. It was a lot of trying to figure out this new routine, not really
Mhm.
sleeping much, going from, everything being revolved around our schedule to okay, now we're following this baby schedule. Um I had the plan to breastfeed. It was, like, super important that I try. I wasn't breastfed. None of my siblings were, but I was like, you get all that pressure, all that, messaging, like, "It's so good for the baby,"
Right.
so I was, like, really gonna try, and it was definitely a struggle.
Mhm.
Um Amel lost a lot of weight, like, after birth because I just, like, wasn't producing enough milk, and then my milk wasn't very fatty, it was, like, very watery, and then she wasn't latching, so then there was a lot of, like, "Oh, maybe it's a tongue tie," so they clipped her tongue tie in the hospital, which was
Oh my
heartbreaking for me
gosh.
to I was like, "Please, I can't watch this." And then they were like, "Well, maybe it's a lip tie." So then they snipped her lip tie. And so I just felt like, "Oh my gosh, like we're torturing our child to be able to feed." And even after that, she just wasn't latching, so my milk like didn't really produce a lot. And then I was pumping and then we were trying syringe feeding her and the lactation consultants were coming in and like doing weigh-ins and being like how much is she getting and it felt a very aggressive like pressure to continue
Yeah.
and it was so like the first month of her life was just like me measuring syringes and pumping and being so stressed out that she was eating that I didn't feel like I was fully enjoying the moment with her. um And at one point, one of the lactation consultants was holding my breast, and this was so foreign to me, and like trying to latch her, and she was like, "Do you want her to trust you or a bottle?" And I was like, "I don't know, me, but I don't know." And um,
Oh my gosh.
I was crying a lot, and I was feeling like very
Yeah.
overwhelmed. And then at one point, I just was like, "You know what? I'm not gonna do this." Like,
Mhm.
I think it's the most important for me, like peace of mind to know that she's eating, because right now I don't know. So we're gonna do the formula, and it was the best decision. It just it changed night and day, and, like, PJ was able to help me more
Yeah.
then, and, like, we could trade off, and I could just enjoy, like, the connection because you feel like, "Oh, if I'm not breastfeeding, like, is she gonna connect with me?"
Mhm.
Um, but, like, just feeding her and, like, looking into each other's eyes and having her still be close and me knowing that she's getting what she needs was, like, game changing.
Oh man. I don't understand why we are not set up with options. Why is it
Yeah.
like this is the one way you gotta go? And the sense that I got was like, okay, you bring this baby into the world, which is the biggest job that you could ever do, like mentally, physically, like for your life. And then immediately, it's like, now this feeding frenzy, which is so insane. It's so
Yeah.
crazy. I can't believe that woman said that to you.
Yeah, I was surprised. In the moment, it didn't even register, but
Right.
my husband was the one who was like, "That's wild. Like,
Yeah.
that's not even an option, like a real thing." And I was like, "Yeah, like we have to do what's best for us." And there was a lot of guilt around it. My sister-in-laws, all of us got pregnant and had our babies within a few months of each other, and breastfeeding came so naturally to them, and they were so like really good at it. They had like extra breast milk that they were like storing and donating, and here
Yeah.
I was just like barely could, and I just felt so inadequate. And at the end of the day, I was like, 2 years from now, we're not even gonna
Mm.
be thinking about
Yeah.
this. So we just have to do what's right for our child and our family and like take the pressure away. I wish I would have known that earlier. It's like it doesn't matter, just do what works for you and don't put so much pressure on yourself.
I mean, words to live by. And really, I mean, that the feeling that you feel, because it's the first thing we can do for our baby, right? And
Mhm.
we're pounded in like our head, like pressed as best, you have to do it. And two,
Mhm.
like for you looking around, you're surrounded by people where that comes like so easy to them. It's
Mhm.
it's so hard.
Yeah, I think that the advice that someone gave me that like really impacted me the most was like, yes, you're learning and this is all new for you, but this is also new for Amel. Like she's a
Mhm.
baby and this is a new experience for her and you're learning together. And so it took the two of us and neither one of us was like working. Like she was like, I don't know how to latch and I was like, I can't make it. And I think it was like together we both knew like, okay, this is a better route for both of us.
Oh
So
my
yeah, it
gosh.
was the first month was just wild and I just remember like living in a bathrobe because I
Yeah.
just like needed to be available. Um yeah, and I just like felt like a recluse just like living in my house in my bathrobe. Being like anxious to go out in public because I didn't know when she would get hungry and yeah, it took some adjustment for sure.
Oh my gosh. And look at you. Like the first decision ever that we have to like stand up for ourselves and you're like I'm going to stand up for what's easiest for us and what makes the most sense. So, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, and after that, it was so like I don't want to say easy, but it was so much smoother because I felt like once that was taken off the table, it was just like okay, adjusting to a new routine and taking turns doing diaper changes and that kind of just like learning what Amel needed from us and just enjoying what we could out of it.
Oh my
With the
god.
added stress of being like, and also I need to find a job.
Okay, so how was that? And when did you like go like when did you start applying? When were you like scouring the web for jobs and stuff?
Girl, it was so crazy. This is just how I am. Like once I get it in my head that I'm doing something,
Mm.
nobody's like telling me anything and I'm just doing it. So I literally like 5 days after she was born, remember my husband driving me around in my car to like job interviews. So I
What?
like I'm not even kidding. Like in between this happening, I had like been applying for jobs like, anyways, like knowing that I was gonna leave on my maternity leave.
Yeah.
And I had a job interview like 5 days after I gave birth. And I just remember like putting my like pad on that, like the diapers that they give you and like putting my business clothes on over it and like being in the back seat, like trying to breastfeed Mel and then like passing her off to PJ and being like, okay, I'm gonna go in for this job interview now. It was a crazy time. And I think I was interviewing for like urgent care because at that point I was like, maybe derm wasn't right for me.
Mm.
But actually, I had interviewed while I was still pregnant. I was 7 months pregnant, which for me was really scary to walk into a professional job interview so like heavily pregnant.
Wow.
Because that's also like such a thing,
Oh,
it's a
totally.
scary to be like, I'm about to have a baby. Can you please hire me? But it was serendipitous because while I was on my maternity leave, that interview called me and they were like, we can't stop thinking about our interview with you. Like you interviewed so well and we really think you're a good fit for us and like we'd like to re-explore this. So I came back for a second interview with them and it went really well and I actually ended up getting hired with this like very huge dermatology practice in the area like and came back from my maternity leave and started there. So it was just like it was all meant to be. The pieces came together really, really well.
Oh my gosh, what a beautiful story. And you're totally right. There's a couple things I want to pull out here. So, this person that you worked for first with the woman that like was not supporting the journey, and then you go in pregnant for an interview.
So scary.
And
Yeah.
7 months, you can't hide that. You
No.
can't hide that.
Nope.
What was that conversation like? Because I'm assuming you brought it up.
Oh yeah, I think there was yeah, it was like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a hard worker and
Mhm.
like I'm driven, I'm passionate, and I'm having this baby, but I have every intention of continuing my career path. And I know like I have the skill set and I can still be an asset. Um, and this is just like one, instead of like looking at it as a weakness, I was like, this is actually just one more reason why I'm so capable.
Mm.
Because look at me, I'm 7 months pregnant and I'm interviewing and I'm doing the things and I'm taking the risks. And the dermatologist I interviewed with was like this very tough German woman who like came over from and she was like, I think she admired that and
Mhm.
um was like, wow, like nobody like who does that. So she was like, I can't stop thinking about that. Like, I think you'll be a good fit. So it worked out.
Oh
But
my
it was
gosh.
definitely intimidating. Yeah.
That is so wild. Okay. And so impressive too. I just want to like say that is like so ballsy. That's so awesome. I just like, can we please view a pregnant person as a powerful individual versus somebody that's like struggling? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so true, and yeah, you definitely, you feel that, like, it's almost like you're treated like it's a handicap or something,
Hmm.
where in reality, it can be a superpower.
Hmm.
You just have to reframe your thinking.
Beautiful. Okay. That's amazing. And so you have an opportunity to enjoy without the stress of knowing a job. How was getting back into the workforce? How was that like dynamic, leaving baby, and what did you do for care? Tell me all about that.
Yeah, it was super intimidating. I'm fortunate enough that my mother-in-law wasn't working at the time, so
Hmm.
she actually came down. She moved to Ohio from Michigan
Wow.
and like bought a house nearby and watched Amel for the first 3 to 6 months.
Hmm.
Um, it was so amazing for us. Like it's so great to have that help. Um, and then and that gave me the time to like focus on work without being worried about what was going on with Amel and just knowing she was in good hands. Starting the new job, the provider I worked with was very strict with training. And she was like, I know you have a baby at home, but like I want you to make sure you know what you're doing. So we like would meet before work and we would meet after work to go through like a dermatology textbook and like um really nail down like that kind of stuff. So it was like a lot of pressure from work. But I loved what I did, so I didn't mind that. And then after that first 6 months, we put Amel in daycare, and that was hard for me
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, she's not talking yet, and she was getting sick all the time, and you're like, what's going on there? Is she being well taken care of? And like we lived in kind of a small town in Ohio, and they didn't have the kind of daycares where you have like an app or a video of what of the day, or it was like a piece of paper, like, okay, she ate a few times and we changed her diaper, and you're just like, what's going on throughout the
Oh
day?
my gosh.
But it was it was fine and she was good and um yeah, it was a learning experience, but it was good. I think it was good for her too to be able to socialize with other babies and kids and like get that experience and see how all different ways of care are done.
Yeah. I think they're my kiddos are in daycare, and my first one started daycare at 4 months, and then my second one started daycare at I think like 8 months. And both times there is a conversation. It was not my conversation, but there is a conversation that just impacted me a little bit where it was like, why would you have somebody else raise your kid, quote unquote? And
Mm.
before, I had this vision of like, oh, well, I'm not going to send my kid to a daycare. I'm going to hire like a nanny.
Mhm.
And with working from home, a nanny doesn't work. Okay. It's like my husband, myself trying to work from home, and then a baby and a nanny, like all in our house. Like that's impossible.
Yeah.
And when I had transitioned him into daycare, I was so surprised at how much I loved it for us, how much I loved it for him, how much like support I felt from like the staff and the people. And honestly, it like made me a better parent. Like I remember those teachers, especially like the first few, and like the conversations, like they helped me understand where my kid was. And I think that's invaluable.
I totally agree. And I think as our kids got a little older, like both of them
Mhm.
were in daycare, yeah, like hearing from other people, other caregivers, like how they were, because your kids are kind of different with you and different with other people, and just hearing their funny stories of like things the kids said or like an experience they had with another child, it did feel really good to know, to feel supported and like, okay, these people have experience with kids too, and they can see what's going on and give me some pointers, and you know your child's in good hands. It's a really good feeling, and
Yeah.
it takes a lot of off. And to know that your kids can be cared for by many different people and it's not all on you, I think is really good for them.
I think so too. I love that. I totally love that. So you get her into daycare, and
Mhm.
is baby number 2 planned, or is that a surprise?
So I think so after that, like we got pregnant so easily with a mouth. We were like, oh, let's see. I don't know how it's gonna go. And I think at like 5 or 6 months, we started to be like, I was approaching 30, and I think
Mm-hmm.
I just had this fear around like if I have a child in my 30s, like will I recover the same? I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, so we were like, okay, well, let's like not actively try, but like let's not try. Let's just see what happens. And thinking like, okay, the first time was a fluke, like
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna take some time, like let's start this process. And it was like again, like I almost feel guilty saying it, but like it was the first time we tried again, we got pregnant. And I was like, this is absolutely insane. Like we can never like we'll always have to use protection if we're not trying to have kids.
Totally. Yeah.
Crazy. So yeah, it was a very much a surprise. And it happened very quickly, and we were like, okay, well, we're already in the thick of it. I mean, what's one more, adding one more to the circus?
Yeah.
Like, let's
Yeah.
do this.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
So with the second one, and the second one being so fast, because 2 under 2 is wild, because it's like you're still dealing with a baby as you're growing a baby, and then a newborn, and then, I think under 2, you can still kind of call them an infant. So
Mhm.
you're doing both. Did you approach pregnancy different with this one? And was it different at all? Did you feel any different?
That is such a good question. I think I was so much more laid back
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, okay, now I know what all the sensations feel like, and I have comfort in my body that I when the time comes, I'll be able to have this baby. So I think I just was like rolling with it. Um, it was a little bit more nausea and that kind of thing. So I feel lucky I didn't again didn't have a difficult pregnancy, but it was just that feeling of like fatigue and just being weighed down. And again, working for a job that like had a high demand where I was seeing 30 to 40 patients a day and I was on my feet. I definitely felt that soreness and like, lower back and all of that was more intense that second time around.
Wow.
It was like, oh, I remember now what this is like.
Yeah. Oh my
And again,
goodness.
I'm gonna work until I go into labor and see what happens. And yeah, I made it to 38 weeks at work with him, and yeah, it was it was a busy time. And like doing all of that and being like, should we like potty train Amel before he comes? And like, yeah, just trying to figure out our flow before adding another person to the mix.
Oh my gosh. I know. It's so hard. And these little babies, they have such an impact.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was, I think, like his whole birth story completely different from Amel's too. So
Okay.
I think like everything with her was so smooth that yeah, it never really occurred to me that anything could be difficult. So I think second time around, like it was eye-opening to be like, okay, this is like it's not so easy for everyone. Um,
What
so
happened?
it was good to have both. Um, so this is wild, and I actually haven't even talked to anybody about this, but so because I was having so much like pelvic issues and everything, I talked to my OB at like 38 weeks, and I said like, is there any way we can like get him to come out sooner? Like
Yeah.
I think I'm done. And she was like, "Well, we can do a membrane sweep and see if
Mm,
that kickstarts." thing. So it's a safe time. So I was talking to some coworkers at work about it, and word got back to my male boss that worked there that like I was going in to have this done, which was already mortifying that he even knew this. Um, but he pulled me into his office and he said, "Hey, I heard like you're gonna have this procedure tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh yeah." And he was like, "Well, in my experience, my wife had that done and she went into labor right away and had the baby." And he was like, I really can't afford for you to like go into labor tomorrow and like me not know what's going on. So you're going to start your maternity leave now."
Are you
And
serious?
I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, you're done. Like starting tomorrow, like don't come back to work tomorrow. You're going to start your 12 weeks now." And I was like, "Okay." Like I didn't know and I was like, "Okay." And just like pit in my stomach, heart is like being like, what just happened? Like, wasn't really prepared for that. Um, so I like was like, well, I can't, like it's too late. Like I still have to have this procedure done. I can't be like, oh, actually, no, I can cancel it. And I just felt like so uncertain. So I went to the doctor the next day, had the membrane sweep, and of course, nothing happened. I did not go into
Oh,
labor.
yeah, because that doesn't
Um,
always happen.
no,
Mm-mm.
everyone's body is so different.
Yeah.
And at that point, this like for me, the clock started ticking because where I worked, I didn't have like 12 weeks paid.
My God,
So
Farah.
it was like I think I had 2 weeks paid vacation. So I definitely was like using that up first, and then I had short-term disability that I could take advantage of for like another couple weeks. And then the rest of the time was like unpaid, but I had like been saving for months to like anticipate that. But it was very much like I've saved enough to be at that 12 weeks. So I kind of was like, I need to have this baby like now because I want to like enjoy the time as much time as I can with it before I have to go back. Um, so I actually asked to like be electively induced at 39 weeks. I was like, what is the soonest we can have him so that I can maximize my time? And she was like 39 weeks. So I think there was also like a lot of guilt around that, like being like asking to be induced because it was like, why would you jeopardize and like speed this process up that is meant to be natural? Like you go when you go. Um, but for me, it was like I being the main earner, I was like, I can't go that
Mm-hmm.
long without getting paid. And I want to as much time with my baby as I can have before going back. So it was quite an experience, stressful experience.
Okay, first off, I want to kill that guy.
I know.
I
Yeah.
really do. Because that one, and who knows, but that sounds illegal to me. I don't think you can actually do
Yeah.
that. So
No,
I
you're right.
really
I found
don't.
out it was. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And there were a lot of signs. Like as I was pregnant,
Mm.
I was used to being like they were used to me being sort of the face of the aesthetic side. Like I ran their entire department and I started to gain weight and I started to huff and puff and I was like
Yes.
walking up to a meeting, right? And like I walked up 2 flight of stairs and I came into the meeting with him at one point and I was like huffing and puffing and I was like, "I'm sorry, like, pregnancy, like the breathing." He was like, like you gotta keep up." And he said something like, "Maternity clothes aren't cheap. Like you need to like be on your game so you can afford this pregnancy." Like he was very like the comments he made to me were very like something is not right here. And I feel like that's not like talked about a lot. Like I feel like um yeah, that happens a lot to women in like the professional setting. Like when you're pregnant, it's like you get treated differently sometimes.
Yes,
It was
yes, and there's laws around it that should protect you. And depending on where you are in the country, it's different. Um, I cannot believe that. I am like enraged right now for you. That is so
yeah, I was
unfair.
yeah. It was definitely um I felt at the time I felt like he robbed me of a little bit of my time
Yeah,
like with
well, yeah,
my
he did.
and letting me have that experience and letting my body do what it needed to do. Like I felt that pressure to like rush it and like hurry up and have my child so I could have the time and like get back to work, you know. Because he'd made comments too about like, oh, I've lost a lot of employees to maternity leave. Like, are you sure you're coming back? And like it just was like the pressure was on to be like, yes, I'm definitely coming back. Like, this is the plan. Um, and in fact, to ensure that I came back from maternity leave, in our contract, like if you are produce so much, you get like a bonus
Hmm.
basically, like at the end of the year. So I'd earned a bonus like for my production, but he made me sign something like saying that I wouldn't get that bonus unless I actually returned from leave. So instead of like paying me it when I was due, he was like, you've got to wait 90 days, like we're at 12 weeks and like come back and then we'll pay you your bonus. So it was just like so manipulative. And I just was like, oh my gosh, feeling a lot of pressure.
I feel bad for that guy's wife and family because that's unexcusable. And
Yeah.
did you do like legal action or anything?
Mhm. I did. I did and I won. And
Can we
it was
talk
very
about that?
validating. Yeah, absolutely. It was like going through like the last straw for me to pursue that was like COVID happened during my maternity. So I had Idris in January of 2020, and then the world fell apart 2 months later.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
And we lived in Ohio, so we were all on lockdown, like everything was very
Yep.
strict. And so they knew they were starting to do layoffs. And so um I fully intended to come back to work because I wanted my bonus that I work and like I loved my job.
And you have
And
a career that you're doing, and this is your passion,
yeah,
and all the normal things. Yeah.
yeah. And I'd gotten to a week away from returning to work, and it was like March, I think, of 2020. And I got a call that I was being laid off. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had already like blown through my money that I'd saved to get me through that 12 weeks and like had every intention of coming back. So it's not like I was looking for other jobs or anything. Um, but I was like one of the higher paid employees and a bonus was owed and like all of these other factors
And
and
you were on mat
they were
leave. And just as an FYI, you can't just let somebody go on mat leave.
okay. I didn't even know that. So thank
Hmm.
you. I didn't even know that was a thing. So yeah, he called me in a week before I was supposed to come back and was like, yeah, like just you're not coming back and we're not paying you your bonus. And that's when I was like, this can't be right. Like I felt like the walls were closing in. I had two kids under two, a 2 month old. I was the main earner. And it was like I felt like the rug had been pulled out from under me and I was like, what am I gonna do? I just was like instant survival mode. It was wild. And
So tell
my
us
poor
what you
husband,
did.
I'm like so I decided I'm like dragging him along for the I was like so enraged. I'm like, "Do you think we should talk to a lawyer?"
Yeah,
And he was like, "I don't know." But I was like, "I'm talking to a lawyer. You know
I
what?
love
I
it.
what's the worst he can say? No."
Right.
And so I reached out to somebody and he was like, "Yeah, okay, absolutely. There's a case to be had here." So we definitely pursued that. And it was like the option was to bring me back to work and you know reinstall or like pay me a certain amount of money to just to not come back, and that's what we decided on. Just I wasn't going to come back, and now I was like, okay, I'm free to do whatever I want to do. And it felt very validating to go through that process and to be like, wow, that really just happened. And also I won. Like it felt really good to do that.
Oh my God, Farah. First off, such a badass. And yes, yes, you should have won. I'm so glad you did. And I'm so, again, we were just talking about this. When you're in those moments, and yes, it's hormonal, I get it, but there is a clarity that happens and an intensity that happens when it's like mama bear mode turned on, and
Mhm.
don't take my money that I earned that's making your practice better that I deserve. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was like, "That's like, I've gotta protect my babies, and I've gotta, like, support them and provide for them, like, that's my job is to, provide that, and I'm gonna do that however I need to." Um, so yeah, that I think that was inspirational for some of the other ladies I worked with who had been in similar situations. And it was like, yeah, we don't have to take that. Like
I'm so proud
we
of you.
thank you.
What a
At the
beautiful
time it
example.
felt very like it was like, what am I doing? Like, am I gonna be blacklisted from like working
Hmm.
in this industry? But no, it ended up being like the best thing for me. And we were like, you know what? My husband worked from home and I was a free agent, and I was like, well, why don't we go somewhere else? So that's how we ended up moving to Florida. Actually, was like we can be anywhere. Like let's see what other adventure we can we can get on. Um, yeah.
That is so incredible. I'm like sitting here just kind of in awe, truly, because one, such being pregnant is so sensitive. And when you are career focused, there is such a friction. And you're right, it's like filled with guilt. It's filled with lots of yucky feelings that I think are oftentimes not our own, right? It's like societal.
Mhm.
It's kind of like,
Mhm.
you only have these weeks. You have to, like, it's this sense of urgency that's placed on us that's very unfair. And it
Mhm.
really isn't like you. It isn't me. It's like it's not individual. It's like this societal thing. Like, this is how you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And for you to
Mhm.
kind of step up and say enough is enough, I mean, one, I'm just so proud of you. Thank you for doing that. And like, what a role model for anybody that's like dealing with something like that. That's wild.
Mhm.
That is so crazy. I'm so happy, obviously, that you would have won. So thank you for sharing that story.
Thank
That's
you.
incredible.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I was like, I don't talk about it a lot because I'm
Yeah.
like, it just feels vulnerable, but I think it's part of my experience and it's part of a lot of women's experience, and it can feel very isolating when it happens to you. Like, did I do something wrong or should I have done something different? But it's like, no, that's life. Like working in a field where there are like women who are bound to have children is just
Of
like a fact of life.
course. I mean, of course. That's what's like so insane. Is it's like it's we're 50% of the population, okay? And yes, we're working in fields where there are women too. Like, this should be something that can happen for us. That is supportive to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, and I think like at the time too, like I didn't pressure myself as much with the breastfeeding with Idris because I was like, you know what, in 12 weeks I'm going back to work and I'm so busy at work, I'm not gonna have the time to pump in between patients. So like I tried it for a month and he was a great feeder.
Wow,
But I
cool.
just like I know. So I was like, okay, I can do this. But I was like, you know what? I can't keep up with like his like he was a very hungry child. So I was like, you know what? Like let's just go to the formula. And that way, like when I go back to work, I don't have to like add that pressure to myself to like ask for a place to
Pumping
go
room,
breastfeed.
yes.
Right, because that wasn't a thing where I worked, and, like, I just didn't wanna have to deal with, like, asking for more, which is so interesting, like, as a working woman, and be like, "I don't wanna be difficult, um, I'll just, like, not do that so that I can focus on work more." So there were so many things I felt robbed of in
Yeah.
preparation to go back, and, I was like, "I never wanna be in that position again." Like, the scariest thing that could have happened to me in my life and my career has happened, and I survived it, and so now I was like I felt empowered, like, "I can survive anything. Let's do this. Let's go to Florida." I got a job with a company that was a startup, and, like, I was their most experienced provider, and I, like, helped them start up their company. It was, like, a mobile derm practice, and I was like, do I'm just gonna still continue to thrive and take chances and know that, uh, like, whatever happens, it'll be fine. Like, we can do this.
Oh my gosh. I mean, yes. And I'm just like on repeat. Can we just do that? That's amazing. Such wise words, truly. And I think, I mean, what a beautiful example and inspiration you are to all of us. That's exactly what should be happening and needs to happen. And the fact that you kind of like alchemized that situation into something that can propel you into something even better is so beautiful. So, okay,
Thank
but
you.
why are you in Florida? How did you get to Sarasota? Because that's what I think is
Um,
like wild. How anybody gets
it is
anywhere.
Exactly. It was such a random thing. The company that I interviewed with, like it was an exciting opportunity. I could help them get off the ground and like have stock in the company. And so they were like, yeah, our first location is going to be in like the Lakewood Ranch, Bradenton area. I knew nothing about Florida. My husband had never even been to Florida before.
So
So
why did you
I
guys
just
decide Florida?
I love the ocean. I love the
Mhm.
water, and it was warm and beautiful and sunny, and we just thought,
Why not?
why not? Let's live where people vacation. Like,
Mm,
let's give it a try. We were so used to moving states that it
mhm.
just wasn't even a thought for us. We're like, all right, let's pick up and go. And it just worked out. We loved it. Like my husband's first time in Florida was house shopping to live here, and he was like, okay. Love him for putting up with my my stuff.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So were you interviewing in Ohio at the time, or did you come down here first?
I came down here first. I did take a part-time position in Ohio in the interim.
Mhm.
And it was like a part-time, it worked perfectly for me until we moved down to Florida. And then I took another position, and did that for about a year and a half, and then transitioned from then out of dermatology with aesthetics to just the med spa. Because at that point, like I had two kids under two still.
Oh.
And the traveling around with the mobile practice was a lot on me. And I just reached a point where, like, okay, my priorities have changed a little bit. Like, I'm still very career focused, but I want that time with the kids. So I wanted a little more stability and more, like, less crazy hours and fighting with insurance. So I transitioned just to aesthetics, which was my favorite part of derm, anyways.
Mhm.
Um, and it was the best thing I could have done. It was like a great move.
Okay, I love it. I do want to rewind because I want to know about your son's birth.
Oh, yeah. Um, Great question. With with him, it was like induced. So, like my body was like nowhere near really ready. So we did the induction,
Mhm.
um, got to the point of me being ready for the epidural, and I was like, okay, like let's do the epidural. Like it's time. I'm ready. I made it as far as I can. And they had a really hard time getting the epidural this time, and
Oh no.
the provider kept saying, like, "I think you're too thin and, like, the way your body mechanics is and whatever, I just
Too
can't
much
get it."
information, buddy. Like, move
I
on.
know, seriously. I was like, "Okay, can we call somebody else to help or, like, what are our
Totally.
options?" Um, so, unfortunately, instead of, like, giving me an epidural, they, like, tapped my spinal cord, and I
Okay.
had, like, a spinal fluid leak,
Oh.
and it was just, like, you could feel, like, the pressure from my head just, like, going down, and I had to be laid flat. And so at that point, epidural was out, like, I wasn't gonna get it, and now I had this, like, spinal headache where I couldn't be upright at all, like, I had to be flat, and I just was, like, it was intense. So I was going through the head issues and then the delivery, and I just remember, like, screaming and being like, "Please give me can you give me anything for the pain? Like, please." And my doctor being like, "You got this. Like, get control of yourself. Like, we're
Yeah.
gonna do this." And then me being like, "Okay," and pushing through that, was a way different experience than the first time. And I would not have chosen it that way, but what I did get out of that was, like, going through all of that showed me that I could literally do anything. Like, if I could handle that kind of pain, like, everything else becomes relative. Um, Filler and Botox and all that is, like, nothing. It's got nothing on that. So I
Okay.
was like, "Okay."
So a spinal tap, right? That's what it was. Like, it's
Mhm.
okay. That didn't
Mhm.
alleviate pain.
No, so, like, from just knowing, like, neurology and stuff, they'll
Yeah.
usually do a spinal tap when they wanna remove your fluid and check for things,
Okay. Yeah.
but you can get spinal headache, and so for her, it just was like it leaked. It just
Oh,
whatever happened punctured, and, like, the fluid just leaked down into my body, and so actually the
I
day
see.
after, yeah, the day after I delivered, they did what's called a blood patch, where they draw your blood and they re-inject it into your spinal column to restore the pressure. So I had to go, I did that the next day after delivery.
Okay, so you have
Uh,
this headache, you have
yeah.
random fluid running through your body, and then you're supposed to give birth? Like
Yeah.
naturally?
Yeah.
What?
Like completely on my back.
What? Okay, I need details now. How long were you in labor? How long did you push? And what was
I
PJ
think I,
doing in all of this? Because I'm sure he was like freaking out.
yes, he was so good, squeezing my hand, like just mantra, like you can do this, you're so strong, like I believe in you,
Yeah.
like the best supporter.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it was 14 hours of labor and maybe another 2 hours of pushing. So it wasn't anything crazy, but I was like very determined. I was like, the sooner I get him out, the sweet relief will come. So I just like pushed with everything in me and he came out and I'm so thankful.
Oh my gosh, Farah. So
And he
you,
was healthy. Most importantly, he was healthy. So I was just happy that he came out healthy.
and you were induced, so you had Pitocin going through your body too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was intense and yeah, definitely an experience.
Oh my goodness. That is
Yeah.
insane and such a wild birth story.
Yeah. And I think I just thought like I was induced with a Mel because of that, so it'll just
Yeah.
go the same and it just went a little different and it just showed me that I could do it and I didn't think I could. So I guess it was a good thing looking back. As long as he was safe, it was good.
Oh my goodness. Wild times, man. That is
I
so
know.
crazy.
I know. And I try not to tell that story to new mom, like people
Yeah.
getting ready to deliver. I don't like to share like the scary bad things. So, unless they ask and they're like, what happened? And because I don't want to put my experience on anyone. And I
Yeah.
always just say like the first experience was so amazing and that's what I hope for you. But, if you have questions about how the second one, I'm happy to tell you. But yeah, I don't that was just because you hear a lot of scary
Yeah.
stories and you're
You
like,
do.
to be my story.
Yeah, you really do. It's nuts. All the things that can happen. That is so gnarly. Well, wow. Superwoman. That's so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was wild, but not like it made everything relative. So now I can get through a lot, I think.
Yeah, serious seriously. And okay, and just because I want to nerd out a little bit. Can we
Yeah.
talk about like the pain? Because
Oh,
especially when you, so with my first, I dilated all the way to 9.5. So
wow.
I was like this close to not getting the epidural. And
Wow.
I was so scared. I think that was like the only thing that I can like say. It was like scary because my body was completely out of control. And like we were talking before, you are in a different world. You leave your body and you are somewhere trying to like mentally get your baby out, like because there's no way you can like be in your body. So just like can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about like what truly like in the moment what was that like?
Yeah, that's such a good way to think about it because you're almost like you're in so much discomfort or pain that you're
Yeah,
not yourself. I remember just like tunnel vision of being like, don't anybody touch me, don't talk to me. Like I all I can think about right now is breathing because I need to get through this. Um, and it was like it's still it's gonna hurt and it can be uncomfortable, but you're not fully prepared. You're like, well, it's gotta be like period cramps or something. And it's
totally.
like totally different, like a whole nother level. And I'd done like a lot of research before on like people having like ecstatic birth and like very comfortable birth and like we very delivering very calmly in the water and like was trying to mentally envision that for myself and I just was like out of control. I was just like I cannot with that is not my experience. I'm in pain and I'm like shouting for something for the pain and I'm like I felt like a drug addict or something. I was like, "Please, help." And they were like, "We can't, obviously we can't give you anything because we don't want it to go to the baby." And I was like, "Okay, then it's just like I need to focus my mind on like getting through this so that it will stop." And it was like the sooner I can get the baby out, the better I will feel. And just focusing on that, like laser focus helped me through that point. I was like, I can't think about the pain right now. I just need to think about the push.
Wow. That's incredible. I know. And you do. Like I feel bad saying pain because it's like this very strange like overwhelming feeling.
Mhm.
But it does weirdly, and I'm saying wrong words, but it like weirdly kind of feels good too, like in a very strange way, like just like a because you're so close to the end, you know the baby's on the other side of whatever you're going through, so
Mhm.
it like makes it, I don't know, makes it feel good or makes it palatable.
Yeah, and you know that like relief of pressure is coming. You're like right on the cusp of it, and you're like, all right, just get to that point.
Dang girl, that is wild times and so freaking powerful. I love it. Um, yeah, I mean, anyone that can do an unmedicated birth, whether they choose or not, which unfortunately you didn't choose, but you got there.
Yeah.
It was chosen for
Yeah.
you. Um,
Yeah.
but there are people that do it, obviously, and I think it's so admirable and incredible that you were able to get through that. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I have props to the women who do that. Like
Yeah.
they're mentally strong enough to do that. It's amazing.
It is. Yeah, it's wow. And with Pitocin too, which you didn't have, you had Pitocin both times, but
Mhm.
I had Pitocin one time and not with the other one. And I am here to
Okay.
confirm that the Pitocin contractions are way worse than the natural
Are
ones.
they? That's all I know, so I don't know, but okay. That feels validating.
Yeah.
That's so wild that you like got to experience both, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm. And
wow.
I was induced with Felix, and similarly, I actually was getting migraines and I was seeing auras, and I
Oh
was getting them
wow.
like twice a day. And I was like in my 38th week. So it was like, please, like,
Wow.
the baby needs to
Yeah.
come ASAP. And
Yeah.
we got him out, I think like 3 days before his due date. So, like, again, not early, but he was ready. I mean, as soon as they hooked me up to everything, that birth started and we went basically. We had a
Wow.
like 3.5 hours of pushing, which was a nightmare. But that up to leading to that, that baby was like coming out and those contractions were gnarly. And then with my second
Wow.
one, he came naturally and early,
Wow.
early. And it, yeah, I didn't get to Pitocin until the end because they give it to you after
Oh yeah.
to make sure like your placenta comes out and everything else that needs to. But
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy like the difference. That's wild.
Crazy the difference, crazy the birth. Oh my goodness. Okay, I love it. So you guys are going and deciding after all of this shenanigans, two babies, cross country move, a legal situation, mama
Yeah.
bear turning on, two under two. You're like, okay, let's
Yeah.
go and have a permanent vacation.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Let's like reset the nervous system after all of that.
Oh my
Yeah.
lord. Okay, so tell me everything. And then I am really excited for you to tell us how you opened your own med spa because that's so amazing.
Yeah, I feel like that everything I'd been through and like becoming a mother, like it's opening my own business was not anything that I ever thought I was capable of or could do or wanted to take on. But I worked like for a medical spa for a couple years, for about 2 years. And like by then I'd been doing injectables for like 6 or 7 years. So I was very comfortable. And I still was feeling that I was working a lot. Like the hours were crazy. I was because it's such a social job. You're putting your hands on people and you're healing people and you're taking on, everything that they're going through at that appointment. You're kind of like a therapist
Yeah.
and you're providing treatment. And doing that for like 40 people a day and coming home, I just was like felt feeling depleted. Like I
Wow.
don't have anything left for my kids.
Oh man.
Um, who are it was like most important. So I would like come home and be like, I need an hour to just like in silence. Um, and that was for me the turning point of like maybe I could like where could I work that I could just kind of like take it a little easier and take the time whenever I want to like be with the kids and not miss the things that I was missing. And I was like, maybe I've reached that time to open my own. And like family and friends and people I've known for a while were just like pushing me, like, you need to do this, you can do this, like people will come. Um,
Mm,
I was so scared. I was like, what if nobody follows me? What if nobody finds me? Like all of the things, but knowing that I would have more control over my time with them, like, was the motivating factor of like, and honestly, I'd written like I had a little journal, like dream journal,
mhm.
and like years back, I'd written like what my ideal life would look like, and it was like open a med spa, like work a few days a week, have time to. And I like remember flipping back through that and being like, maybe the time is now. Like why not? Um, so yeah, I think being a mom like really helped push me to do that because I started to prioritize the time with them more. And I was like, how can I reclaim that and like make my life mine again
Mm,
and like with them.
that is so powerful. And that's such a powerful statement. And that's such like a real, I don't know, it touches my soul because I think like at the end of it, especially when I just like look at your story, you have like these like circumstances where it's like unsupportive and like such a friction and tension that like ultimately didn't have to be there, right? And so then it's kind of like you get this opportunity and choice to make the move to open your own thing, which
Mhm.
is incredible. And I just want to say, I'm obsessed with your branding, the pink and the purple
Thank
and
you.
like the little twinkle that happens. It's so beautiful. Like
Thank
tell
you.
us how that opportunity started. If everyone was supporting you, how did you finally like land the plane?
Oh my gosh. It was another one of those like the universe just conspired to push me to take the leap.
Ooh.
Um, I it was something I was thinking about for a while, and I was so nervous to tell my boss because I
Mhm.
knew like that would end my job there.
Mm,
So I like filed for my LLC and like started to like just dream up like what I would want it to look like and started touring places and like didn't have anything solidified. It was
mhm.
still like, this might, maybe we'll do this one day. I'm not sure. And then I woke up one morning on a Saturday to a text message from my previous employer that was like a screenshot of the name of my LLC. And it was, oh my gosh, like how did he see that? How did he find this? Like how did this come about? And he was like, can you tell me about this? Like what's going on here? And I was like, oh yeah, like so it's like this has always been a dream of mine and it's like something I've been thinking about.
Mhm.
Not in the works yet, but like I actually wanted to talk to you about that because eventually that might be something I want to do. And he just was like, okay, you're terminated. Like you're done. Like no
What?
conversation. It was just like via text.
Farah!
Like you cannot make this
What?
stuff up. That's why I was like, you know what? Like at that point in my like after everything I'd been through, I just was like, okay. And now like pivoting to like what do I do? And so like
What?
again,
Wait, how did this guy get this information?
I still to this day I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea.
Oh my God. Okay,
But
yes, you're right.
it
The
lit the
world
fire.
is like literally telling you, don't look anywhere. This is your path forward, lady. You cannot do a
Yeah,
single thing.
like you can't deny it. Just go for it.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Well, wait, how
yeah.
did you feel? Were you shocked? Were you mad? Were you any and all of those?
Yes, I was honestly sick to my stomach. I was shaking. I like literally it was like I was still laying in bed and I looked at my husband and was like, "Oh my gosh." And he was like this is wild, but like okay, what are we going to do next? Like it's been done. Like there's nothing you can say or do to change that. So like what are the steps that we're going to take? And like kind of like motivated me because a client of mine had recommended me a book that she was reading in her book club called Everything is Figure Outable
Yes, by
by
Marie
Marie Forleo.
Folio, which I'm obsessed
Yes,
with and I love her.
me too. And so, like, after reading like, that became my Bible, like, during this phase like, during this like, immediately, and I was like, "You know what? Like, I'm gonna do what she did and just, like, take this thing that, again, could be such a negative thing and just flip it on its head, and this is my sign from the universe to, like, do
Yeah.
that what I." So, literally within the course of 2 to 3 weeks, I found a place, I got my business license, like, I worked on my branding, I built a website, like, I was, like, in straight hustle mode and was like, "Okay, like, what am I gonna do? Like, let's make this happen."
Oh my God.
And you would think, like, I'm such a, like, organized person, you would think I would have been like, "I have a business plan, and, like, this is like, what I'm gonna do," and I didn't have time to do any of
No,
that, so I just was like, "We're just
gotta
winging
go.
it,
Mm-hmm.
trusting our gut." And so the branding came from, like, the little girl inside me that just loves, like, the iridescent and the sparkle and the fun, and, like, injectables can be so intimidating. So many people are scared of needles, and, like, having a cold clinical environment just didn't feel right. It felt like I want it to be warm and inviting and fun and girly and bubbly, and um that's kind of where the brand it just, like, came to me in a dream, and I was like, I want it to be a dreamy experience.
Oh my
um
God, that's exactly what it is. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, and so it just felt like the mission was so aligned with everything that was me, and just, like, everything that I stood for, and, like, supporting other women, and, like, helping women feel beautiful and empowered, that I was like, "This is my, like, time to shine." Like, I'm s on the inside, I was terrified, but on the outside, I was like, "I've gotta do like, push through it and, like, take the leap." And
Oh
it
my
like,
gosh.
it worked.
It did. Holy cow. Okay, so how long have you been in business for yourself?
So it has been a little over a year and a half. I think I opened November of 23.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's been a wild like, they always tell you, like, your first 6 months, like, expect not to make any profit, and but like, we hit the ground running, and I have literally been busy since I started, and I think it was just, like, the universe being like, You're ready for this, like, do this."
Oh my gosh.
So that I was not prepared for, actually. I was prepared to be struggling, and take things slow, and be like, "Okay, well, I have the time to figure things out because, like, I won't be seeing that many people," and, it didn't work out that way. It was just, like, busy, and it was like, "Oh my gosh."
Oh my
Like,
God.
"Let's
And
do."
literally, I think I was telling you, I was like, I can't even come and see you unless it's like 6 weeks. You're like booked 6 weeks out. I was like, I only want to see Farah. And they were like, oh, well, like 6 weeks. And I was like, what?
Like, "No, I'm so sorry." That's the struggle for me now is, like, wanting to take care of everyone and be like, there's not enough hours in the day. I'm sorry."
Oh my gosh. It's the best problem to have. And I think it's just like
Yeah.
a testament to one, who you are
Mhm.
as a person, but your talent and, your passion. It's just like undeniable.
Oh, thank you. That I really wanted that to come through, that, like, for me, this isn't like, I take a weekend course and it's a quick buck or like an easy like for me it really is like I really care. And it's a passion, and like it feels so good to be able to share that and like give that back.
Oh my gosh, yes. And it's so beautiful in there. I'm telling you, you do feel like really
Thank you.
dreamy. And every time I come in
Thank you.
there, it's like everyone is in the waiting room. I'm like, oh my God, there's like 1,000 people in here.
It's a party. We're
It's
all
such
yeah.
a party.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So incredible. I can't believe that. Well, seriously, congratulations. I kind of want to say,
Thank you.
I think you have the way that you articulated your story, Farah, is so powerful. And I just want to one, give you kudos because I think a lot of times when people are faced with, some of the challenges that you have faced with, they would crumble or they would maybe, take it as a sign to do something else or, along those lines. And I just feel like you are such a beautiful example of like a rising phoenix in from the ashes, like alchemizing all these crazy situations into becoming these like amazingly wildly successful things. And I think that is such a powerful story.
Thank you so much. It feels so nice to hear that, and I think at the time, like, especially, like, as women, we're so hard on ourselves, and it's like, "Why isn't this working out?" Like, I am banging my head against the wall, I'm trying my best, and I feel like it's not working out, and then you just realize like it's for a reason, it's for a purpose, and this wasn't aligned with you, and that's why it was
Right.
like it wasn't meant for you. Like find what is meant for you. Like instead of like we've sometimes we just have to pivot. And I think I was so focused in survival mode that I was like not prioritizing myself or my friendships or like having girlfriends. And so that was a period of time where I was like in survival mode, and I'm thankful that I got through it. But now that I'm like not in that mode anymore, it's like, okay, now like how do I rediscover like what brings me joy, and like, leaning into like knowing that we're safe and everything's okay, um and having healthy boundaries. And like so there's just every stage of life has different learning, and I'm in a different learning stage.
Oh my gosh, so talk about that because really opening up a business and I have opened up lots of businesses for lots of different companies, but I've opened up my own business and closed it and then now I'm starting this kind of moment. But the way to or the opening of a business, the start of a business, I mean you really are giving birth, right, to
Yes.
something, an entity, a part of you that's like out there in the world now. Tell me
Yeah.
about that because you were busy right away. Are
Yeah.
have you dealt with burnout? What are your boundaries? Like what's next for you? How have you had to like balance all of it?
Yes, so true. That's such a good like question, because yeah, in the beginning, starting my business, like you want to take on any business that's coming your way because you're like, I don't know if this will stop. So, I mean, my working hours were crazy. I was answering my own phone, scheduling my own appointments, doing follow-ups. Literally, I would be in between patients, like answering and scheduling and being like, I'm so sorry, 1 second, like,
Wow.
um, bringing my own patients back. And then like, so recognizing that, okay, this is a lot to take on right now and you're doing it all by yourself. It's okay to ask for help. And like it's scary to bring on an employee when you're like, I don't know if I'm even making money.
Right.
But like taking that, again, that leap to like bring on somebody to help and like manage the schedule was like game changing, because then I could focus on my craft. But I did find like I'm a person who likes to eat healthy and work out, and I just like completely stopped doing that when I um opened Lush. Like I wasn't eating. I was a nervous wreck.
Mm,
I was um just like when I wasn't at work, I was re-editing and rebranding. I was focused on the website. I was like talking about marketing and like trying to find like do Google ads and like learning all these different skills that you don't learn as a provider. You just know like your skill.
right.
Um and it came to like where I really noticed it was one of my like amazing clients who does like she was like a therapist and helps with like workplace things and knows me. And like, I was like, I'd love to do like a evaluation with you on like workplace dynamics to make sure like I'm a good leader, because I've worked
Mm,
for places where people aren't. And I
mhm.
really truly want to support people and grow and like have them feel like they're a part of this business and we have a mission together. Um, and she did an evaluation, and I was very much like on the perfectionist side, and
Mm.
like, and she was like, what are you doing to take care of yourself? Like,
Oh,
you considered like, what your mental health. And I was like, what? No, nothing. Like I'm doing nothing. I'm not working out. I'm not eating. I'm feeling like I'm working all the time. And
yeah.
I was like, that was the first realization. It took an outside perspective. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I need to prioritize that and like set a good example and like lay the foundation now before the business grows and I have more employees. And be that example. And like so many other business women and like business mamas were like, boundaries. If I
Yeah.
can give you any advice, it's about like turn off the phone at 5 o'clock or whenever. um and that's really hard, like, with social media and everything, even, like, as a provider, like, patients have such direct access to you.
Yeah.
So, all hours of the day and night, you're getting phone calls and videos and, pictures and questions, and you wanna help people, so you wanna respond, but you're like, there is a limit, and knowing that you've gotta delegate that time, for yourself and for your patients so that,
Right.
um, keep it, like, professional.
Because it's like you built the business for your freedom, not to be a slave to your own business.
That's exactly I had to learn that too, like,
Yeah.
okay, Yeah, what remembering your why.
Mm.
Just, like, remembering why did you do this, and being like, "Okay, we've gotten the business, like, we put in the really hard work to, like, make it sustainable and good. Now let's, like, peel back the layers and, like, make it, like, work for you and for everybody involved." And it's hard, like, learning to say no as, like, as a woman, as a people pleaser, as a caregiver,
Mhm.
as an empath, like, you wanna help, you wanna save the world. And sometimes you're like, I have to learn to say no, or like I can't do this event or that, and like prioritizing and just and learning yourself and okay, I've reached my limit is
Wow.
really important.
It is. And I think you don't know it until you get there, right?
Hmm. Yeah. And I think you're right. Like I think I was approaching that point of burnout, and when I started to recognize
Hmm.
that, I started to just peel back a little and like maybe reduce my hours and build in a little more break times and um, do a little more self care outside of work. And I started like having a therapist, which
Hmm.
I feel like so like we all kind of need that, like somebody to just like point out what they are seeing and like help you make adjustments. Um, and like doing yoga and like starting to work out again and like do those things to bring to give back to me so that I can give back to other people. And yeah, that's a learning process also.
It really is. One, I want to discover and hear other people's story because what's astounding is there's so many similarities. And again, like we're not really talking about it very often.
Hmm. It's so true. And I feel like we're all figuring it out. Like you would think like, oh, I
Yeah.
have two kids and oh, I should, with the second, I should know by now, like how to be a mom. But it's like, no, every kid and every stage is so different. And we are just like learning together as we go. And it's nice to have, like, what you're doing is amazing to have that, like, support and knowing, like, we're all figuring it out
We
and doing
really
the
are.
best we can.
And nobody knows what they're
Yeah.
doing, I promise you. Nobody does. Even the expert, I swear to you, they do not know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's validating because I mean, I have so many like patients and clients I talk to that are like professional behavioral therapists, and even they're like, yeah, and I don't know what I'm doing with my own child. And it's like, okay, thank you. I'm not even a professional, and I'm like, I don't know. It just
I
we're
know.
figuring it out.
I know. It's like, okay, thank you for sharing that and saying that. And also, the other thing that we're figuring out is no one has ever raised kids in this time. So, like,
Yeah.
our parents, when we were growing up, that's they're going to have a different life experience than us. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're handling. We don't know how to handle all these things that we have no idea what they're going to be, dealt with later on in their life. So we really are. Everyone is just trying to do the best they can.
Yeah, and I think this whole process taught me like we are in this interesting phase of like trying to heal from past things that have happened in other generations and like not carry that forward. And so we're very conscious of our parenting and like and trying to make the best and like when you tend to have the perfectionist mentality, you're like, well, is there just one right way to do it? And like I need to figure that way out. And it's not. It just you got to let go of the perfectionism thing and like one of the biggest words of wisdom that I've heard is like you just have to be a good enough mom. Like you don't have to be the
Hmm.
best mom to be good enough for your kids, and that's what I try to do.
Oh my God, it's so, so, so true. And that's like such a powerful phrase, too.
Yeah. Just giving yourself permission to make mistakes and like know that your kid seeing you make mistakes is also good because you can apologize and you can
Yeah.
pivot and you can learn. This is how we learn.
Yeah.
So it's been rewarding. As hard as it is, there's healing and there's rewarding in it too.
Mm,
I feel like is magical.
I
It's a
love it.
magical dichotomy.
I know it really is. Um, okay, so what has been like if pre-kiddos,
Mhm.
what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, I think about this all the time, and it's more I think I would give myself permission to feel everything I'm feeling and to know that it's
Mm,
all okay and it's all normal. Like, there are
mm,
times when you're like, "Why did I have kids?" There are
mhm,
times when you're like, "I need to get away from my kids," and there are times when, like, I can't imagine life without them, and it's all part of the experience, and everything you feel is normal, and, like, don't be so hard on yourself with the guilt, the mom guilt, because it can be so intense sometimes.
That's so beautiful. I know. I think something that was hard for me to understand was that there's no such thing as doing it perfectly. There is no perfect example. And even though I'm like the A plus student, like good girl, so and high achiever, perfectionist. So I'm like, I have all the books, I have all the checklists, I have all the best doctors telling me how to raise this kid, like psychotic, man. And you just have to let that go, and that was very hard. It still is actually hard for me daily. And then the other piece that I think really killed me and that I had to like come to terms with was just like there's no controlling anything. Everything is like complete chaos and mess and disaster and loud and insane. There's no that's it.
Hmm.
That's it. That's all there is. And you've got to be okay to like live and navigate through that.
Yeah, and like yeah, you've got to learn to like go with the flow and like give in to that and like be more accepting. And I think the kids have taught me that to like when I'm feeling like overstimulated or overwhelmed to just like tap into like being in the moment and like riding that wave and like letting it pass. Um and like we learn so much from our kids that like the way they're so open-hearted and genuine and curious and loving and naive. um it's been such a good like lesson for me and just so refreshing in so many ways to be like, wow, I want to be more like that.
It's
Like
so
teach me your
cute.
ways.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, but you
Yeah.
guys just did a big trip to Italy. How was that?
Oh my gosh, traveling abroad with kids that age, it's no joke. It
Yeah.
is it was so fun, but it was difficult. And we tried to not put a lot of pressure on ourselves to do the most. Like we took it day by day. When we needed a break, we took a break. When the kids wanted ice cream, we gave into it and we're like, okay, ice gelato twice today, that's fine. Like,
Yeah, we're in
you
Italy,
know,
so why not?
if it means you're not gonna have a meltdown and like we can get through the rest of this day, like let's do this.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
But it was great, and I feel like letting them see like different cultures and different ways of life has been so good for them, and just to appreciate like what they have and the way different people live. It's such a good learning experience. So they really appreciated it, which was unexpected at the age that they're at.
Oh my gosh, it's so sweet. That's so beautiful. I want to get the kiddos out and traveling. And it's really funny because every time I talk about it with just like kind of our immediate family, they're like, why would you do that? Like, that just seems crazy. And I'm like, yeah, but people do it. I see people do it. I have
Yeah.
experienced like, I mean, I get it. It's super hard, but like, I do want to have those experiences. I do want those photos. I do want, to what you're talking about. See them look at something through their eyes. Like that's so wonderful. But
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being easy. So, way to go.
It's Thank you. I think the thing like the mantra that helps me is someone once said like their childhood is also your parenthood.
Yeah, I love
And so,
that.
like, yeah, they may not remember a lot of that, but like you get to share those memories and tell them about it later and be like, we took you to here and you were so cute and you loved this. And so even if you're like, they may not ever remember and be like, you never took us anywhere. It's still nice for us to have those memories as parents and be like, that was part of our journey together.
Oh
So
my
I
God,
think
I
that's
love
really
it.
cool. And I think go for it. I think you guys you'll have a blast. It may not be easy, but it will be fun.
Yeah, I love it. Um, oh my gosh. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so what is your parenting myth that you wish would go away?
Ooh, I think that you have control of the kids. So, like people have, oh, like you're in control, like you can teach them how to. I've given that theory up. Like we just do the best we can. We cannot control it all. You may think you're in control, but you're not. I feel like sometimes I'm so out of control, but yeah, I would say like not to pressure yourself or think that you're gonna have it all figured out and be like, we're gonna have this routine and it's gonna work perfectly. Like it just doesn't sometimes.
Ugh, so true. So true. And they come out with their own personalities too.
So different. and so fun. They're all so fun in their own ways.
Totally. Okay, what's a one word that you would use to describe parenthood?
Gosh. Transformative. I feel
Mm,
like it really just changes so much, so many things.
that's beautiful and so true. And then, where in the world of you do you feel like you're crushing it?
Oh, that is so hard. Like,
I
it's hard for
know.
us to say. I really feel like I'm doing the best, but I really think that I've done a good job of giving the kids space to be who they are
Mm.
and not pushing them to be any one thing and just like giving them the space to explore like who they are and what they love and like lean into that, like their different interests and be interested in that with them. I think like I'm very conscious and very aware of that and I feel like I'm doing a good job with that.
Oh, I love it. How lucky for them to have a parent like that. So that's amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to It's a Circus. If today's episode made you feel a little less alone, share it with a friend who might need it too. We are building something amazing at the Turner Brothers Circus, an entire space designed for parents to find connection, laughter, and support. I'd love for you to be a part of it. Remember, you're doing better than you think. Stay grounded, stay real, and embrace that beautiful mess. And as always, the show must go on. Until next time.